All right. Again, I'm an addict named Adam.
Yep.
I love you too. And I am an addict in Narcotics Anonymous. I'm an addict. If I go to, Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm an alcoholic. So I try to roll like that, but I'm both. But yeah, no, tonight, I wanted to, have you ever heard the saying back to the basics? If you stick with the basics, you're going to be all right. And I believe that's true. But I wanted to share one of the basics. It was has been really huge for me, and it's changed my life entirely, which has been prayer. Now, I was on the phone with this he's an old timer, I guess. He's got 10 years, maybe more, 13 yesterday. And I was like, yeah, well, I think I'm going to share about prayer. And he's like, well, why are you going to do that? Then new. Right. And I'm like, what? I'm like, hold up. What do you mean they're new? Right? That you have to be a certain way in your recovery before you can start focusing on prayer. I think that is ludicrous.
Yes.
I think that is insanity, right? In fact, it's so insane that, like I said, we've been doing it first when we bring meetings up in here, and we were all unsure. We were unsure, but that's how slick it can be, right? We were like, man, do we do prayer to start the meeting? And in some meetings, right, they do prayer at the end of the meeting, right? Especially up north. All right, how many of y'all have been to a 12-step meeting outside of this facility? All right, when you've gone to those meetings, have you heard certain slogans like, make 90 and 90?
Yeah.
Right? What about get a sponsor and use the sponsor? Join the home group and be a service. You ever hear that? Okay. Work the steps with the sponsor. You've heard that? Okay. Don't pick up, don't use no matter what. All right. Keep it simple.
All right. This is simple, stupid.
Easy does it. Right? Keep coming back.
Always.
Keep coming back.
Always.
Don't give up 5 seconds before the miracle. You ever hear that one? All right, cool. All right.
Definitely.
Live and let live. Halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Right? Never alone, just for today. What about prayer?
That should be before the response you before, yes. I'm like here wants to be that be
right. Now I know too it talks that this is a spiritual program, not a religious program. And so a lot of times, especially when I came into this program,
they're going
look, you would have told me, hey, what's prayer? Well, I didn't know that I could go get a dictionary, because the first thing I would have said, well, prayer, that means that religion, right? But hold up, wait a second. It's not my fault, right? I didn't create myself. I didn't create myself. That's what I know prayer to be. When I think of prayer, I'm thinking of what? Church, God, right? So a lot of times, religion, and a lot of times that can push some of us, me, away, right?
True.
Look, I've been coming around just like y'all. I've done it in and out, right? The jails, the overdoses, the institutions, just like this, the same thing, right? And I couldn't ever get clean, not for a second, right? I just couldn't do it. I could not get clean. If I stop using it and don't have recovery, my life gets worse. My life gets worse. I want to kill myself. I can't do it. I have to use. Then August 3rd, 2018, something different happened. I started praying. Then I told y'all when I shared, I was a gospel disc jockey in Baltimore, right? WBGR, Washington, Baltimore's first black gospel radio station, Shades of Gray, AKA Triple Play, bringing the message on crack and methadone, right? 18 years old. So and I got confirmed at a young age, right? I went through all that. There was always this religious thing going on. So I thought that I had this understanding with God, but I was using the whole time and I hated life. I was hopeless, and I definitely could not stop using. And so I don't know how it was when I surrendered. And when I surrendered, I'm talking get on my knees, just like a new, when you go into a meeting as a newcomer, do they say, if you're new, raise your hand? New. And then you go up to the front and you pick up a white key tag. That's the type of surrendering for getting on my knees. Bringing my body, the mind will follow. I had to do something different, getting on my knees. And I've shared that before. I have not smoked in that living room, but yet at the end of the night, I'm crawling on my knees. But yet I could not, for those 10 years coming in and out, I could not get on my knees twice a day and just say, thank you. I couldn't do it. Been the X factor in my recovery. And like, I take it extremely personal. Like, it is everything for me. Like, I promise y'all, I don't know anything about God, right? I don't know shit about recovery except don't pick up and use. But man, I pray. Like the first year on my knee, it didn't matter. Oh, we're flying to, I remember 30 days in, my wife and I had to go. She would get with her college friends and we'd go, we used to party when we do it, right? Well, here I am now, 30 days. I mean, fucking look, palms sweating, a mess, right? We had to fly to Detroit, on my knees in the bathroom in Detroit, right? Fly into Boston, nasty ass motherfucking bathrooms, on my knees in Boston, right? Like, I don't know. I'm telling y'all, for the first few, it was nonstop. On my knees, praying, mantra, right? Mantra. I mean, I already know this one thing that y'all gave me, this serenity prayer, grant me the serenity, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, right? Over and over again. I can remember when I was young, right? And I'd be using with my mom, right? And she'd always be like, thoughts become words, words become action. Okay, sure. I think that's true. But for this program, for me, like, I had to bring my body first. It was like bring my body first, and then my thoughts changed. Because I'm telling y'all, if I just stop using, I'm still this. I'm telling you, with 6 years and 3 months, I'm still the same motherfucker. I swear to you, today, every day every day, every time I take one of my sons to the doctor, Fink and them down there, Dr. Fink, pediatrics, it's got this old electrical smell. I'm like, man, that grandfather crap, right? Like, I remember, I remember, I was thinking about it today, that shit, right? I think about drugs. I think like I'm still very much the same person, but I do some things a little bit differently. Like first thing in the morning, I'm like, damn, I know I have to pray, right? I know I have to pray. Now, someone with more clean time may be like, well, you don't have to. The God of your understanding has you. Yeah, that's true. But I'm just telling you what's worked for me now with 6 years and some change. Bringing my knees, showing some type of humility by getting on my knees, that action. I mean, it's huge. If I'm in active addiction, right, and I'm running out and you tell me that I need to fucking pray, I swear to God, I'll pray every day. I will get on my knees in front of the whole family. I'll get on my knees right now in front of y'all if you're going to tell me I'm going to get my score. Like, that easy. But yet, even when I'm by myself, it's a little bit, right, I'm getting on my knees. Like, shit, I'm smarter than that. Like, hold up, that picture of Jesus is white. That's a white Jesus. Right? Like, I think I know some things, right, about this whole world, everybody else. But in reality, do I really? Like, we're not that different. I'm telling y'all right now, we're not that different. We were all born. We are all going to die physically from this realm. So positive. Most of us have hair. Right now, it may fall out at some points. We have skin. We have a heart, we have bones, we have eyes, we have a nose, right? Like, I'm like, what? We have lungs. We have so many things, right, that are the same. We age, we get old. And one thing I truly believe, it doesn't matter if you have 50 years clean. Vito L has the longest time clean in NA right now. He's got 72 years, right? If you have 72 years or you're out there on Skid Row or still using, I believe that we all have the potential and possibility to pray to a deity. Something. I don't know. I mean, even the leaders, even the worst leaders had a right to, right? I mean, if we were going to sit here and believe in God, the Hitlers, the Napoleons, right? They had a chance to pray. Maybe even the most beautiful angel, it fell down. Whatever. I don't know, right? And try not to get religious. God forbid I get religious. I come into the program, I work steps. You know what I found out? There's 8 billion people on the planet. What? And half of them are religious. So I'm like, wait a second. Hold up.
That don't go together.
I must be I must be smart. Look, I'm not saying, right, religion, but maybe I need to stop and get with humanity for a second. Because when I wanted to use, it wasn't about using. It was about conviviality, right? When I was going to get the beer and get the liquor, it wasn't like, well, if I'm shaking or I need it, but I wanted to party. I feel it before I get it, right? I want unity. I want to be a part of. Hey, we're going to party. We're going to be together. Like, that's kind of what it was for me in the beginning. Like, hey, there's this, I don't know, man, but the stars are going to align. Meteors are going to fly. We're going to party. Going to find my soulmate. Right? Then we're going to use, and we're going to have we're going to write that great album. Right? Maybe we're going to, well, but we can start a business together. We can do things, right? All these great things like together. But no, I ended up being in isolation and totally different and alone and not having any. I mean, at one point I believed that God was on permanent vacation, right? And like I went through all these things. It was just like, I don't believe. Agnostic. I tried to be atheist, tried to do all of that in search of. Like I was seeking. I promise you, I can remember being 5 years old and my mother would take me around to different churches, right? And I shared this, 4 weeks ago. I was pissed off because each church was a little bit different because I'm so self-centered that like, whoa, I got to accept 8 other billion people as my brother and sister. Well, no, they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to. But, so that's 5 years old. It was too hard for me because I'm very self-centered and I can't I want the easy way. I want the easy way. And that's hard for me to understand rather than to be understood. That's what this program kind of gives to me with spirituality and prayer because it says God of our own understanding. I can remember coming in and be like, but God, it says he, as we understood him, right? And at first I'd be like, geez, look, it says him. What kind of program is this? What do you mean God's a he? Well, I got to remember that was written by human beings 70 years ago. 70 years ago, right? It's still the same writing. It's not that's how we communicate. It's not personal. Like we're just not there yet, right? Like it takes time for stuff to, like I'm pretty sure they said the Civil War ended in 1865, yet the segregation movement was 100 years later, right? And yet still equality, right? We're not there, right? Because things take time. So it's like, I can be real quick to come up in here and I'd be judged. As he sees it, right? Trying to push myself out that, so what if it says he? There's that one prayer that I utilize, Our Father. And it's not my fault. Here's why. I'm a white dude that was born in 1983 in Baltimore, Maryland. I saw pictures of white Jesus. Well, Jesus is not white, but I grew up in Christianity. I grew up in America. I could be real quick to flame it to the side, but I'm going to go wipe my ass with some real nice toilet paper that I get in American society, right? Like, it's not my fault. So I had to accept that and stop for a second and be like, dang, that's what I know. Like, this person told me, right? Sponsor said, pray twice a day. So I got on my knees and before I could even just start talking, it was like, Our Father, And now today I am a father. And so it's like when I think of being a father, right? Like, what is that? Like, man, loving and caring, loving and caring, Our Father. And then I go through it. I will start off now. I hit him up. And I still try to be a prayer mechanic. I don't know if y'all are like me, but like when I'm praying, I try to be like, oh crap, wait, let me go back. Like if this thing, God concept is infinite, like it doesn't really know that I'm about to be praying or, right? So like I can be real, but I'll start off. I'll be like, look, I surrender. I'm an addict. Some NA folks will be real mad. I actually do this. I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. I'm powerless over my disease of addiction. I'm powerless over the disease of alcoholism. My life had become unmanageable. God, please help me. Step one, I do that. I just kind of say it. I reinforce it every day. Because I believe that I have a disease, right? EM Jelinek, this disease concept. Do you all believe it's a disease? It's got to be a disease, right? If it was not a disease, then this place closes because we would get cured here. And I'm not saying these places don't work either, but if these places really, 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 really worked, they wouldn't be in business because this is a fatal disease. It is chronic. It is progressive. So it's like, get a sponsor, right? Get a sponsor. 90 and 90, all these things. But what really put it over the edge for me was this prayer thing, this getting on my knees and being like, and I'll say it all day long. Help, can help me, please. I can't take it. I can't take it. Please help me. Please help me. Or it's thank you. Fuck, thank you. Sometimes I'll just be like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right? And thank you. But a lot of times it's like, please help. Please help. Now that old timer that said, hey, don't be bringing up prayer with all of us newcomers. Step 11 in the basic text, right? It says, if you ask God, right, or your higher power for help, you will receive it. I totally believe it. Now, it may not be how I want it, but it will be. It will be. How about praying for others? Let me tell you this, right? Because in this program, there's spiritual principles. So it's like the beginning, honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, humility, all these things I've never practiced. As I move on and do steps, now I'm empathy, compassion, forgiveness. So, my cousin who was raised as my sister, right? And then my mother, 3 months apart, we're pretty sure they were murdered, right? By the same person. So 3 months apart, and this is 5 years, 2013, right? I would daydream about killing him. I'm talking daydream, and nobody would care, right? No one would care. I mean, I'm talking seething, Look, we know. My mother was an addict. My sister, they were addicts. This person, so-and-so, is an addict, right? I mean, seething. And so coming in clean, what did I do I was given a suggestion. When I get on my knees, right, and I'm doing my prayers, pray for their health, their happiness, and their prosperity, right? And I mean, from my heart, honestly. And I'm going to tell you, I did it every day for 3 weeks, multiple times a day. Now, deep down inside, I'm going to tell you right now, that motherfucker needs to burn on the sun, right? Because I have an ego, because I'm human. So there's still that piece, just like that same piece I told you today that I can think about drugs. Life for life. Right? Ooh, look at all these colors. Acid. Right? Like look, drugs are always there. There's always that thing in me. Okay? And that's what I'm trying to change. But I promise you right now, and I mean it, I swear, I hope that so-and-so finds recovery. I pray they find what I've been given. Health. And even though deep down it's like, they're not worthy of that. Right? But I do. I do pray. Like, I do honestly pray. Yeah. All right. I thank y'all so much and I'm not quite done yet, but this was so personal to me, and it was something I really thought about because Joe had called me and was like, hey, do you have a speaker this week? And I didn't. Now I got speakers lined up for the next 3 weeks. In fact, I got what's her name who was here last week, the preacher's wife, the preacher comes next week. Right? Yeah, her. That's right. Allie's husband will be here next week. But going back to praying for people, does God need my help?
No, when he is that's that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, man, and I'll be praying. I'll be trying to really be honest, being like, man, I'm praying. I hope that they're okay. I do. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this God concept, this great loving, caring thing doesn't need my help. It doesn't need my help at all. How dare it? It doesn't need my help. But again, step 11, right? Because part of the program is being of service. So if we ask, right, we can. I came in, and so I was praying all the time. I'm like, hey, can I? And look, I shot up my mother. And I smoked. Look, I'm just like y'all, right? And I was praying. I was like, man, may I be of service? Praying. I was a praying motherfucker, right? I got a job at a daycare. Boogers and diapers, 100 babies. You get what you ask for. But I got fingerprinted. Man. They fingerprinted me, peed in a cup, right? So it's like, man, boogers and diapers, you get what you pray for. And then I can be real egotistical and quick, especially with some old timers, right? Because I still have resentments against old timers and maybe how they roll. What do you know? I love the cat, even though he said, what do they know about me telling y'all about prayer? But an old timer would be real quick, 2 years or more, that's the only tag that says serenity. And I'll be like, you have never sat in a room with 12 babies and patted them to sleep and then listened to each of their breaths, right? So why don't you tell me about serenity, old timer? Go eat a hot dog. See? See? Very human. It's like we get clean, I get clean. I'm still very much the same person. I'm just not using, I'm going the speed limit, right? Like that's what I'm driving the speed. And that's kind of what recovery is like, the steps. Like I'm powerless over the car. I am, right? I wear my seatbelt. That's kind of like my sponsor. I can talk with God, and then I'm driving forward and I'm staying in my lane and shit's going to come in and out. And what's crazy, the best part, I swear to y'all, if you look in your rearview mirror, that background changes, right? And that's my past. Like the stuff that I just shared with you, right? Like, growing up, I got pain, right? You use with your parents, you got some but I'm telling you right now, I can look at it. But I still got to focus on the road though, right? Because I'm driving now. Like there is hope. Like that's one thing the prayer has given me is hope. I'm telling you. And it's something that's all yours. So I told you the prayer that I usually start out with, that's first step. This is my name. I'm real smart. I'll give him my social security number too. Well, because Elon Musk and all them cat run the show. It's a computer, right? See, I'm still in that conspiracy, right? Like I'm still, and that's okay. Whatever your higher power is, if it's the dirt, pray to the dirt. Like, the energy that we know about, like pray, but it's got to be something loving and caring because you're worth it. That's it. Like, and I still, this is a program where it's like, someone said, I gotta love myself.
Yes.
I'm like, fuck. Like, really? Like, okay, well, I do self-centered love myself. Like, I'm gonna get mine, trying to gamble every weekend, with money, NFL, right? I gotta get my time. It's always about me. If I gotta work out, and I'm a dude who's been married. Dudes, right? Look, it's healthy for dudes to have 21, 22. By the way, I'm about to be a doctor, so I know these stats. It's about 23 ejaculations a month for men, and the prostate cancer goes way down. So I get mine. Right? Look, I get, and it's like, in the beginning, when I'm first with a chick, I'll listen. Look, I'll listen, and but it's like, I'm still very self-centered. I'm a self-centered. So it's like, is that love for myself? Or is that, again, part of the disease, that ego? Because when it comes down to it, man, looking myself and saying that I'm worthy, or saying with you that you're worthy of loving, caring, like, that's hard for me. That's hard, and so I still am a work in progress, just like y'all are. We're a work in progress. I surrender with that step 2. Then I ask this power to take away some things, because they say they want us to be whole, not whole with a HOLE, what kind of donut hole, but whole WHOLE, right? They want us to rid of these things to be whole. So it's like, get rid of self-obsession, take away dishonesty, take away self-righteousness, cockiness, arrogance. I go through that. And then I say, may I receive, humility, humbleness, acceptance, surrender. That first step, those are the, those spiritual principles in the first step. And then I hit it with the third step prayer. Many of us have said,
If I love my life, got in my recovery, so now I live clean.
That is easy. And you're on step 3. It's that easy. And it is. Then it starts to get hard. Them other steps are hard, right? But it's like, take my will in my life. Or like Lisa a few weeks ago was like, take my thoughts and my actions. That I swear to you, I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what will in my life meant. I didn't. Like there's so many things I thought I knew that I did not know, and how simple those things are. Look, I love y'all. I'm going to get ready to open the floor for y'all to share. There's one last thing I want to share about, and it's about surrender to. And look, I do the St. Francis prayer. I'll throw in that Our Lord's Prayer, and then I just talk. I just talk to God. Help me. And there's always been communication the whole time, right? It's always it's always been there, even with that voice, this voice, that's saying that, right? It's always been there. But last thing I want to share about is, again, step 1 in surrender. Why it's important for me to surrender to prayer, and then I surrender to the program. So have you ever heard of the rose and the gardener parable? Check it. There's 2 roses, okay? One rose is vibrant. It's a beautiful rose. This rose is just self-sufficient. It is self-sufficient. It is gorgeous and beautiful. Next to this rose is well, it's kind of a broken rose. It's right. It's a mess. It needs help, right? It needs help. So the gardener or the prayer, whatever you're going to go, gives it stints. It gives this rose stints so it can stand next to the vibrant, pretty rose. And you know, if you turn on the Weather Channel, lots of hurricanes, right? And they're coming, hurricanes. And they come, and then you know which rose is still there. The one that has the stints, the one that's lifted up, the one that surrenders, right? And it's like, dang, you know, dang, I swear to you, if you're an addict like me, man, everybody else does all this for us. Really, in reality, we just kind of wake up. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get on my knees and do whatever I gotta do. Try to get in touch with another addict. Am I gonna go to a meeting tonight? Like that's, am I going? Is it in person or Zoom? Well, Zoom's not good for me. And I'll be like, I took all drugs. I mean, I have smoked some shitty ass crack. I've gotten some dirt weed, right? I mean, I did the whole trying to be, I tried to be a gangster, right? So I would say, look, we would tape Steel Reserve 40s on each hand with duct tape. Like that shit is nasty, trying to get through that, right? Why couldn't I make a Zoom meeting, right? Like, I mean, and I keep track of them in my calendar because I knew how many milligrams, I knew what I was putting in me. Those are the things I feel that got me through. I don't know, like, if you want it, you can have it. It's just, and maybe you don't want it. And maybe deep down, I don't want it. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, my disease, I remember being 18, line of oxy, looking in the mirror, being like, I'll be speaking at avenues. I swear, like my disease is that cunning and baffling that it's way. I mean, whenever I've gone to jail, I get fed, right? We arrested. It says the disease is arrested. So you arrest me and, well, I'm getting better. Technically, I'm getting better. When you arrest me, I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. And my disease is part of me. I got to accept that. Like that's part of the person I have to love. And it's getting stronger. So I love y'all. That's all I got to share. All right. The floor is yours. Go ahead.